What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Frida, and we're returning to the 1984 album Shine. Once again, thank you to Adrian for providing these albums, and the next track is Chemistry Tonight. So, of course, I'm inclined to think this is about psycho-emotional and/or physically intimate chemistry, because when you say tonight, it seems very narrow in terms of the time, whereas if you talk about a relationship more broadly and the emotions that entails, you would think of it on a longer timeline. Of course, it could be both. Obviously, in many cases, there is a synthesis of psycho-emotional feeling with physical intimacy, but it certainly sounds like it's leaning more toward the latter in the context of the phrase for the title. Now, of course, it could be about a different kind of chemistry. It could be verbal, it could be a mental chemistry, though once again, it could be all of those things together, or at least in sequence. Nevertheless, I would not be surprised that this is about some sort of coming together, some sort of congress, shall we say, in a given evening in light of passionate feelings. I suppose it could take a different direction. I'll try to see what I can catch on the first listen. This is Frida, the track is Chemistry Tonight, and it's from her 1984 album, Shine. Oh. I like that deep, powerful bass, but I do hear some vocalizations that suggest before I get to the lyrics, I will say I very much enjoyed the sonics of this one, which felt multifaceted, multi-layered. I know there's been some comments about the production on the album. Again, sometimes I'm not sure I have as trained of an ear when it comes to either the mastering or the particular sonic timbre of the recording. I tend to focus more on ingredients, whether it's a bass line, it's a guitar line, or a keyboard run, and so on. But this one felt very compelling musically. It had a bit of a, almost not like samba, but it had a bit of a shuffle to it in terms of the rhythm and the percussion, but there were also like some different keyboard elements, a very high keyboard line that had a bit of a celestial sound to it. There was a lower end of the tune, as I said, this dragging, almost constant bass layer. I don't even know if you call it a bass line, because it felt like it was, it wasn't rising and falling with particular notes. It felt like it was more the floor of the tune. The lower end was just a constant. But also I enjoyed the way in the latter stages of the tune it became a bit polyphonic, where we had a separate vocal line, I think also from Frida, that was independent of the lead or main vocal. I enjoyed the, again, like mid-80s synth pop meets a bit funky type of sound, which I talked about that in my reaction to Agneta in the same batch, but with a different flavor in this one, a bit less like soul funk and just a bit more like synth funk. Either way, I enjoyed the lyrics, which feel like they are essentially running in the direction I thought, but on a larger scale, meaning it sounds like she's talking about everything seems to be falling in place for the chemistry tonight, not just the moment when the lights go down and they're not having to speak anymore. I think she talked about silence and, that being where they felt as close as any point thus far, and, one kiss, one sip from his cup, which, again, you can interpret, I suppose, more literally or more figuratively. It sounds like we do get to that physical intimacy by the end, but she's talking about being in her bath and turning on the radio and feeling like everything, the electricity in the air, everything's just setting itself up for this special connection, and her eyes are open, which again you could interpret more literally, them looking at each other. She talks about his eyes looking right through, and you know what you're doing to me, and the way you're setting my body on fire, and I can feel it inside me. But it also sounds like she means my eyes are open as, I'm not ignorant about what this is leading to. I'm not confused as to whether this emotional feeling could precipitate physical intimacy and lovemaking. It sounds like she's very aware of the direction this is heading and that she wants it, and she feels like everything, again, is falling into place and is happening right, so that it's the natural outcome or conclusion of the chemistry that is happening at multiple points temporally leading up to this, but on multiple levels also, including when she's by herself preparing for the evening. So, yes, it sounds like it is very much what I thought, but on a longer timeline and in a larger scale than I was considering. So, yes, it sounds very enthusiastic, very passionate, which again, she's talking about the feeling that she's getting, physiologically, but also how that's reflective of the way they're looking at each other on a more metaphorical or figurative level. So, a really compelling tune sonically and lyrically as I caught it. Of course, I might not be hearing any of that, or at least all of that correctly, when it comes to the themes at play, or indeed even the recording quality. As I said, I fully respect that people have different opinions. Again, not that everyone has criticized the production quality, but ultimately, when I hear this, I found it very compelling. So it's all good if other folks feel like, there's something missing, or it doesn't have quite the shine, if you will, of an ABBA record, where perhaps the production is more layered or more effectively put together. But I found this one really compelling. Of course, vocally, she sounds great. I love those long extensions, which, not unlike the Agneta tune I heard, have these moments where she pushes a particular line at the end for a long time, but still finds a way to curl it or to flourish it at the end of the line. As I said, I enjoyed that polyphonic moment, or not moment, but section near the end of the tune where we began hearing multiple layered Frida vocals. Either way, a really cool one for me. I wonder what you think. Let me know, and I will see you next time. Peace.